Okay, folks, I'm going to do my best to keep up with time, pay attention to you all, and be able to see the plants. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm not wearing my glasses and my contacts are not in yet. So bear with me. We're going to wing this one. Okay, I wanted to start by showing you something else. Well, let me go back. My name is Shannon Wright. This is Container to Table, which is a part of the Urban Engagement Initiative. It is an effort to fill some of the food gaps that we have here in Baltimore and cities around the country. So this is week 5. And we started planting things. Now, in the first episode, I talked about how to get a good harvest of your beans, you need to plant every 4 to 6 weeks a new crop and all of those sorts of things. So this for us is week 5. So we're going to replant some things. But I wanted to show you something. Now, these are lima beans. We planted them week 1. And you may think that this looks awesome. And they do. They do. The problem is, and I got to lift this up, there's only 3 up that you can see. I planted 3 in each, okay? That means there should have been 2 dozen plants up, and they're not. Sometimes seeds can take a big variation in time before they come up. But if you look really closely, and I'm gonna have to find it and then show you guys, you can see that some of the other seeds, oh, there's one. Some of the other seeds, and I'll put this down so you can see it. Some of the other seeds are starting to come up in the pack. So you might want to leave this one a little bit longer, even though it's been 5 weeks and we've only got 3 up. Actually, this one was week 2, so it's only been 3 weeks. You want to give it a little bit more time if you see that there's evidence of something growing. So for all of you that are starting and saying, well, I planted a whole bunch and only a couple came up, it can happen. Now, remember also, in the beginning, I did say that the average is 50% of the seeds that you plant actually come up. So don't be discouraged. Keep planting. Now, you might be wondering why there's a whole bunch of toilet paper rolls. I saw a neat trick. Now, these are black beans we planted week 1. Now, they can't go outside. We're still in January. They can't go outside for a couple of months. But especially if you're a new gardener, it's sometimes helpful to be able to tell when they're dry, when they need a little bit more water, when they need a little bit more of whatever they may need. Now, we had a lot of seeds in a container because I really wanted to jumpstart it. Now, when they start to grow, if they are too tight, too close, they can start to wither. So you're going to have to transplant them. And usually you wait for the secondary leaves, which are just starting to come in. But we had to take a step further because they were starting to wither a bit. So what you do is you take your toilet paper rolls, you cut them, you put the dirt in, and you put the plant in. And you're probably wondering why. So here's the thing. With toilet paper rolls, you will notice that when you water it, the paper changes colors. So you get to get accustomed to the color, the variation, to know how wet they are or not. A lot of times the topsoil may seem wet, but the bottom is not. And vice versa can happen as well, depending on the heat source you have them on and all that sort of thing. So this gives you a great visual of how wet or dry your plants are and if they need something. So we did these to show you what they look like when they're done. And now, although I should probably reverse this. Now we're going to transplant. These are, I believe, pinto beans. And again, I don't have my glasses or my contacts in. These are black beans. These are the pinto beans already done. So what you do is you take your toilet paper roll and you make 4 cuts. And you try to make them at 12, 3, 6, and 9. And they don't have to be terribly deep. Then you're going to take them and you're going to fold it in. Kind of like when you're putting a box together where you alternate over, under, over, under. And you're going to do that. Till you get a little thing like that there. You may say, well, that's not going to stay together. And you're right, it's not. So carefully flip it upside down. Come over to your plants. Have you ever seen when people are transplanting, they squeeze up the plant and it looks like, well, why are you doing that? Because when you do this, it loosens the dirt and it loosens the roots. So you're going to separate your plants and you're going to try to gingerly get them out. And I'm gonna, again, have to hold this up so I can really see what I'm doing, because I want to make sure I don't damage the roots. So I'm gonna hold it over here because it's obviously gonna drop some dirt. So I'm gonna take these out. Okay, now these three were in the same small container. You can see their roots are pretty doggone good. So we're gonna take the plant, we're gonna hold this together at the bottom, we're gonna put this in, and we're gonna start putting some dirt in. Now, you might say, well, you know, one, your dirt looks dry, and it is, and that's for a reason. And you might say, well, you put the plant all the way in, so the roots are gonna be compacted, but they're not, and I'll show you how in a minute. So as you start to pull the dirt in, pull the plant up a little bit so that the dirt is under it and the roots have some space to grow. That's one down. So as you do these, and you're gonna fill up your tray, and you're gonna continue to work, your beans will then be ready, and they can stay in here. Now, because it's still January, they may be, well, they would be ready to transplant before the passing of the last frost. But what'll happen for us is, once these are really ready, they will go in the greenhouse so that we can get a little bit more space to sow more seeds indoors. They can get hardened to get used to temperature, and they're not really going to be in a temperature danger because they'll be in the greenhouse, and it is climate controlled. So, okay, got it together. That's number two. Flip it over, hold it together carefully. Take your plant, separate your roots. Again, a really good root system. Put it in. Start putting your dirt in. Put some in, pull it up a little bit. Put more dirt in. Fill it up completely, as best as you can. Pull it up a little bit so that it's in a good place and the roots have some room. So, yeah, until you get them all wedged in, they do sometimes fall. So I'm just gonna lean these guys over and I'm gonna continue. Now, you may be wondering why so many bean plants. My goal is to have at least 100 bean plants of whatever varieties we're gonna grow, and I'll tell you why. For us, the size pots that we use, we can put 5 plants in a pot. So we're going to do that, and you're gonna want at least 3 pots of each different type of bean. And you're also gonna wanna plant a new bunch of seeds every 4 to 6 weeks, and you're gonna need to remember that. One of the things that you'll see is if you don't do that, you will notice that you may have 1 week, again, good roots. I'm gonna put them in, put it in, and start putting the dirt in. You will notice that you may have a week or 2 that has a really good bumper crop, and then you don't. That's because there's no rhyme or reason, and any resource you go to will tell you. There's no rhyme or reason to bean production, but in order to make sure you have an uninterrupted full season of growth, you have to keep planting every 4 to 6 weeks. Now for me, like I said, we're at week 5, so I'm gonna plant some new ones. So you just keep going as you're doing that. You just keep going through and you replant. Again, these were replanted. These are black beans we're transplanting. These are pinto beans that we already did for you. I showed you the butter beans to give you an idea and understanding that sometimes not all the seeds come up at the same time, even when they're planted at the same time, so don't be alarmed. It's really about making sure that they have the right temperature, the right light, the right amount of water for them. And they'll tell you. Also with Google, you can find a lot of this information online. One of the reasons we focus on beans so heavily is because right now meat prices are going up, and they're just going up and up and up. So beans are one of the great sources of being able to get the nutrient value and stretch your budget, and are great for filler. So grow your beans, use your beans. Again, later in the season, we'll get into canning, we'll get into freezing, we'll get into recipes, we'll get into all of that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to come back again, week 5. My name is Shannon Wright. This is a part of the Urban Engagement Initiative. This is Container to Table. And we want to show you how to be able to get the maximum yield from the small space and be able to feed your family, stay healthy, and protect your pocketbook. These things are all important. If you have questions, feel free to reach out on Facebook at either Urban Engagement Initiative, Container to Table, or directly, Pastor Shannon Wright. We are very responsive, and we want to help you stay healthy and safe. Again, my name is Shannon Wright. See you next week. Bye-bye.